All right, let's get started, guys. I think we waited for almost like 8 to 9 minutes, right? All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for waiting, guys. So this is Satish. I'll be leading the session for your, cloud automation course. There are two things essentially we're going to see: Terraform and Python. So what is Terraform? What is Python? You guys already must have googled, or somebody might have got the requirement to work, or somebody might have got the job market to see what is being asked, and you would have seen that in many places the Terraform and Python was a required skill, and that is why you guys are here, right? So we are going to learn that completely, why we need to go for the automation, because nowadays in the market, right, no one prefers to do it manually. Now I think everybody got some basic understanding of cloud computing and DevOps, but you guys also must know how we need to automate, because you guys must have started searching, some of you, the jobs, or you guys must be already into job and got some requirement that you need to automate, because the market always, like, going towards the latest trends, right? Like, why we need to automate? Because we need to follow the best practices. What if we not do that? If we are not doing it, we will have a lot of overhead in terms of, like, infrastructure burdens, configuration burdens, a lot of overheads we will have. So to avoid that, we definitely need automation skills. So as a infrastructure people, we never used to code earlier. Earlier, if you see, like, 5 years or 10 years down the line, if you see, before that, people who works in the infrastructure, they just know the infrastructure part. But nowadays, the competition became very heavy. Like, people asking, you need to have at least a scripting knowledge or a programming knowledge. So that's why it is very essential to start this cloud automation tool, because we are always maintaining the infrastructure using code nowadays, but not manually, because manual operation cannot be done for the larger infrastructure. We need to fully automate it. What is the use of fully automating it? We can reuse we can reuse the scripts in order to deploy the infrastructure for different environment and different purposes. So that is why it is very essential to get start this cloud automation part. So we're going to learn about Terraform. We're going to learn about Python. So before getting into it, myself, Satish, I have a 10 plus years of experience into IT industry on cloud and DevOps platform. So basically, I have worked on AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Oracle, IBM Cloud, the various cloud I have worked, also with the end-to-end DevOps practices, like all the generic DevOps tools you might have came across, right? So all the tools, and I've worked on the containerization, OpenShift, Kubernetes. So I basically do. I started my career as a backend developer, and then, like, I have started picking up the cloud automation, and then cloud developer. Then started doing the platform engineering. So now I do the architect for end to end. So that's how I have evolved. Like, cloud people, whoever starts, they do the same way, right? So you will learn the infrastructure first, and you do some kind of manual operations, then do the DevOps, learn it, and then you automate fully. That's how the career path is going to be for all of you, right? Now, I would need all of your introduction. So you guys please introduce yourself with maybe some detail about your place, location, I mean location, and your job nature, or if you're looking for job, and what are the expectation about this course would be a little better. All right. Maybe I'll just go with the reverse order in my list, whatever the people list I have, right? So let me start with Venkat. Hey, Venkat. Venkat, can you hear me? Uh, Okay, no problem. Yeah, you can just ping me here. No problem. The details you can just ping here. All right, I'll go with Taskin. Hey, Taskin. Taskin, can you hear me? You are on mute. Okay, maybe I'll move to the next person. I see some name called K. Who's that K?
Yeah, that's me, Kareem. So basically, I've been working on the infrastructure side as like a Linux admin and a Windows admin. So that's why I
Hmm.
got interested in this course, trying to learn because our company is trying to move towards the cloud. So I'm trying to
Awesome.
learn what we can, through
Hmm.
Terraform, Python, and we're using a couple of other things like Jenkins and Ansible Power. So,
Hmm.
I wanted to, learn more on this course on the automation side.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. Your good name, I missed your good name. Can you?
Kareem.
Kareem. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Sorry, I'm
Thank
outside.
you
That's
very
why there's
much.
so much background noise.
No problem. Yeah. Thank you very much, Kareem. Imran, Imran, can you hear me? I think you have unmuted, but I cannot hear you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a SAP basis background, so I
Awesome.
am interested in this class because I heard this is kind of the new topic now, and I'd like to learn more.
Oh, awesome. So, have you already came across the cloud basics, DevOps basics, the infrastructure, how it is going to work in the manual operation? Any kind of background knowledge?
No background knowledge, sir. So this is all very new to me.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Imran. So you already into SAP basic basis, and you're trying to move to this particular part, right?
Correct.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. I think SAP has its own cloud platform. I've worked some of the POC integration for SAP cloud platform. They have their own cloud platform as well, but that's something on I think PCF, right? Pure Cloud Foundry basis, something like that. That's okay. Right. Azar. Hey.
Hey, hey, hi, Satish. Can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah, I can hear you.
So I've been working in DevOps field for 4 years.
Hmm.
So I mostly work with Jenkins pipeline and AWS cloud
Hmm.
and
Awesome.
also Docker.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
presently, I'm struggling to get that automation part with Terraform and Python.
Hmm.
So there
Okay.
are like AWS Lambda functions need to write with in Python, and
Okay.
also doing doing the automation through Terraform. So those are the
Okay.
things I need to learn,
Yeah.
and
So
also
cool.
yeah,
Mhm. Okay, you must have understood the
yeah,
pain
and
of not knowing this, right? Like cloud automation, even if you know the cloud part and DevOps part, but if you miss the automation skill, like you will feel like it has not fulfilled your role, right? That is something it is essential in the current market. That is how the industries are moving towards, right? Awesome.
yeah, and also like doing the scripting through Python. That is also very as a part of DevOps engineer. I feel that is
Exactly.
also very important.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you very
Yes,
much, Azad.
thank you.
Yeah. I'll move to Arun. Hey, Arun.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Actually, I'm
Arun.
outside on a train. I'm not sure if you can
Okay.
hear me correct.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. Okay, no problem, Arun. You can just leave a text here. I think, yeah, Venkat had left text. Yeah, okay. You are into infra automation. I mean, you're looking for infra automation. You have some exposure on AWS Cloud. Awesome. Cool. Okay, Arun, no problem. You're on train. Go ahead. Awesome that you're attending from train. That's very good. You can just leave a text about your of your introduction. That's okay. Thank you very much, Arun. I'll move to Abhi. Hey, Abhi.
Hi, good morning. Myself Abhishek. I'm an application developer.
Okay.
So in our company, they started using the cloud, AWS, and also they're trying to automate the uh, deployments. So using
Okay.
the Terraform and also the scripting based. So
Mm-hmm.
already we do have the cloud Azure based in another technology, in another
Mm-hmm.
Azure, but they are trying to automate that with the Terraform and the scripting based. So I just want to learn the skill, interested in that, as they have started are going to use this in our
Okay.
enterprise.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I see Satishwar joined. Satishwar, right? Hey, Satishwar. Can you introduce yourself? So, what we were doing before you joined is we were just introducing ourselves. Yeah,
Uh, Hi, sorry for being late. Good morning to all.
no problem.
Yeah, I'm actually already working in DevOps space,
Mm-hmm,
and I have fair amount of knowledge on Python, Terraform, Ansible, and other DevOps tools as well.
mm-hmm,
Uh, so I have already delivered, many of the projects on
mm-hmm,
these technologies. But it's
mm-hmm,
like when we start working, we kind of do little bit of googling, and then fetch the required amount of solution and then implement it in the project. So the reason I'm here is
mm-hmm,
to kind of do a thorough study,
mm-hmm.
so that it can help to prepare further for future interviews. So
Oh,
that's
sure.
yeah, so it's like you can say I am quite experienced on these technologies,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be a good refresher and to cover up the points which I'm not aware about.
Okay, awesome. Yep, thank you very much, Satishwar. Uh, there is
Welcome.
another message. Okay, you're from infra and on okay on cloud. You had some experience and yeah, sure, Arun. I understand. So you already into the infra background and you want to learn on this automation and DevOps way of implementation, right? Awesome. Thank you very much, Arun. Okay, thanks all. I think I did not leave anyone. Yes. So we're done. Cool. Thanks for the introduction, guys. So in this, what are we gonna see? I think you guys must have already looked about like what is a curriculum we're gonna see about. If not, don't worry. I'm just gonna explain you guys what are we gonna see in this particular course, and then we'll just move ahead. So I hope everyone is at least understand the cloud paradigm, right? Like you guys are at least at the intermediate level. Even if you're at the basic, you can still enhance, but at least like what is virtual machine, what is storage, and at least the basic terminology of cloud you guys must be understanding, right? So in this particular course we're going to understand mostly, I mean, we're going to do the Terraform or mostly on the AWS part. So we are going to talk about like how do we, I hope everyone has the AWS account. If not, do not worry, we'll just create an AWS account. I'll let you know how do we create an AWS account. You guys just do some kind of basic things before whatever we automate. I will also help you out to set that up manually so that you can understand how we are doing it manually. Also, we are trying to automate it, right? So first, initially, we'll understand the basic exploration on what is EC2 service, S3 service, EBS service, AMI. So we have a lot of services in AWS, right? So we do the basic sort of infrastructure component, and we try to create those components manually. Maybe we try to create some infrastructure with VPC, subnets, with the EC2 instance, with all the internet gateway, with all the subnetting setups, right? So we'll try to do that manually, and then we try to automate it. So whatever we're going to look here, it's going to be completely on the hands-on part, not just on the theory saying that this is a syntax and this is how you will just do it. No, we will see that completely hands-on way. We try to automate, but yeah, of course, this needs a lot of practice, guys. So while looking at the classes, while I'm taking you the classes, you while seeing that you might understand all the topics whatever I'm discussing here. But when you want to do it, when some task you're getting it, if you want to try that out, you definitely need hands-on. So please don't miss the hands-on. Sorry. Hello. Guys, can you hear me now?
We
Hello.
can hear you now.
Okay, so I had a disconnection in between, I think,
No,
right?
we were able to
Now is it
hear
okay?
you throughout. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So what I was saying is like we'll do the setup on AWS and we will try to do the manual operations and also we try to automate it, right? So what I'm assuming here will just I mean everybody is like at least having the basic knowledge on the cloud computing. If I see that few people, right, like I think Azar is from a different background on the SAP background. That's okay. You can easily kick off your basic knowledge here. So that's the thing. So first we'll start with the Terraform. Now we'll talk about like why do we need the Terraform? It's a declarative language, and you have a lot of questions in your mind. Is it a just a tool? How do we use it? What will I get if I use that? So here in this course, we're gonna answer all your questions. So Terraform is one of the infrastructure as a code tool which will help you to manage provision infrastructures. So when I say I'm not just mentioning provision the infrastructure because we have a lot of tools in the market. Using that, we can just provision the infrastructure. Even using the command line, you can provision the infrastructure. But we are not going to use that. We are also have to manage. We also have to manage the infrastructure, which means, let's say today I have provisioned the infrastructure. After 4 months of time, again I need to modify the infrastructure. So can I use it? I mean, can I modify it using the infrastructure as a code through because already I have written the code to automate, right? So can I manage it? Yes, that's the effective way to manage your infrastructure. All right. So this Terraform is going to help you to manage and provision the infrastructure to avoid all the manual process, which will be very safe because let's say in a development environment, let's say all of you are a developer and we have a common repository. When everybody develops, the code keeps growing, right? People will be continuously developing it. But when it comes to infrastructure, there is one particular infrastructure we deployed. All of you are the automation engineer. Everybody is going to do some changes in the infrastructure at a time. What will happen? This is not the effective way to manage, right? So we definitely need a proper tool because one person, if people wants to modify something in the infrastructure, team of people, and one person is trying to change, the same infrastructure should not be changed by other person. So how do we effectively manage? We definitely need a tool. So in Terraform, we are going to see how do we manage. Also, little advanced like how do we use a state locking state files. What is state file? If you don't understand, don't worry, we'll see. How do we do the state locking? What if when one person is doing some infrastructure changes, the other person should not get an access to change the infrastructure? So how we will do that? So everything is going to be like using the Terraform, right? We're gonna automate, we're gonna manage using Terraform. Now in this course, we are going to manage the infrastructure as a code with AWS. That's the plan in our course. And we have a lot of alternatives in the market. In the market, if you see, we have Chef, we have Ansible, Puppet, CloudFormation, and there are many other tools, right? We are not going to see all the tools because all the tools, every tools has its own pros and cons. We are going to see about the Terraform because optimally in the wider ranges of companies are using it, in their infrastructure code, right? So if you look at the comparison, these are the few of the tools which I have captured the screenshot from one of the post. It's not my own comparison. This I just captured it because just for the points to show you, right? So we have Chef, we have Puppet, we have Ansible, we have Pulumi, CloudFormation, Heat, and Terraform. In among all this, CloudFormation is one of the automation tool which is only specific for AWS. We're not going to look only specific for AWS. Terraform is a common language for all the cloud, you can use it. So but all the topics, right, maybe the concepts, the way that we write automation script is going to be same for all the cloud, but only the resources might get differed with a different cloud. So if you see Chef, Puppet, Ansible, these all are called as configuration management tool. And infrastructure component like Pulumi, CloudFormation, Heat, Terraform, these are all the provisioning tools. So which will help you to provision your infrastructure. and the infrastructure is like immutable when it comes to the Terraform. And very importantly, it is basically like mainly for the huge infrastructure. You see, uh, we have a lot of a big community for this Terraform, widely being used. It's not just very small number of people are using it. We have a lot of people using this Terraform. Right now, how are we going to learn this Terraform? Do I need to learn any programming? There is a separate language here which we need to understand, the Terraform language called HCL, HashiCorp Configuration Language. It is only specific to HashiCorp. Who is HashiCorp? Who is the provider of this, Terraform, right? So HashiCorp's configuration language, a little bit different. It's not very difficult to understand. It's pretty easy. There is no much concepts inside this. It's only specific to Terraform. If you ask me, hey, can I do this HCL with some other tool? No, you cannot. This is only specific to Terraform, and this Terraform implementation mainly written in Golang. Then, if you ask me, do I need to know Golang? It's not mandatorily, because the Terraform implementation is written in Golang. It's not that you have to learn this Golang, because that's the implementation part of Terraform. You're not going to implement anything in Terraform's feature. You're going to use the Terraform to provision your infrastructure, to manage your infrastructure, right? And it's mainly the costing, right? The open source cost is the primary thing for every company, and this is coming up with open source license. You can use it. Now, yeah, this is a primary difference between the CloudFormation and Terraform. You can ask me, hey, we are going to use it for AWS, and we can go for CloudFormation. CloudFormation is a little different from Terraform, because we have some uh, controls over in Terraform. So there is a state management. What is state management? um, I'll tell you what is state management. Mainly, let's say you provision some infrastructure in cloud. Let's say you provisioned a virtual machine in cloud, and now the virtual machine is running, and you're trying to modify the virtual machine later, maybe after 2 3 months. Now, already the existing state of your infrastructure is being documented and kept it in one file. That state file will be used for your future modification. Whenever you modify, the state file gets updated with a newer configuration. So whenever you update some infrastructure, so what will happen is this will help you to manage your infrastructure. Now, what will happen if you do some changes in your infrastructure using code? Later, you did some manual configuration changes in your infrastructure. That will not be like synced with your automation script. So there is a conflict happened here. So when you have the state management properly, you will be able to track all these operations. Did someone perform anything manually? Everything will be like captured if we have the state management, right? So this is all about the cloud formation and Terraform thing. But the cloud formation is not the one we are going to use. This primarily uses JSON, but now Terraform we can write it with HCL. You can also write it with JSON, but most of the suggested thing is like HCL is a as I told you, right, a HashiCorp's configuration language, right? um, if you look at the commands, what are we going to see in this Terraform? There is no in a bunch of commands. There are very less commands in Terraform. You don't have to by heart the Terraform commands, because every day you're going to deal with the day-to-day operation with this Terraform commands with a very fewer commands. There are some life cycles where which we need to follow, how we will uh, apply our infrastructure into this Terraform thing. So that is what we're going to discuss in this particular course. Now, there are some commands. If you see apply, destroy, get, graph, init. So these are the basic commands. Now we will talk about like how the Terraform is going to work with these commands. Now, before going to apply, before going to execute all these commands, you need to write your automation script using HCL. How are we going to write the configurations? How are we going to write the implementations using Terraform is what initially we will see. As I told you, the flow is first we set up our AWS account. Once we set up the AWS account, we will let Terraform to use the AWS account, right? How are we going to do that? So we need to give access. We need to create a programmatic user, right? In that. So if you don't understand, maybe I'll explain you how do we create the programmatic access for a user, and using that we will try to interact with AWS. Okay, so I'll take a pass right here. Maybe someone posted anything. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I'll take a pass right here. Any questions for anyone, guys? I still have few more, but yeah, I'm just taking a pass here because if someone wants to ask any question, it should not be like the way that I just talk and I'm not letting you to talk. I'm interested to hear voices from you guys, asking questions, throwing some doubts. Yeah. So far, are
So
you guys? Yeah.
yeah, so
Yes, Satish.
what would be the flow of the training? Which topic, I mean, which technology or tool we're going to cover up first?
Yeah. First, we'll set up the AWS account. We'll set up the Terraform tool in your local, right? And then once it is done, we are going to understand the basic services uh, with AWS. Already you guys must be knowing. If not, I'll just go through the basic services. How do we provision those services manually first? And then we are going to start understanding the scripting part, the syntax. So we need to understand a lot of syntax, right? Like how the Terraform block looks like, what is a resource block, what is the configurations that we use. We have many blocks in Terraform. We need to understand the variables. We need to also understand how the functions, values, uh, data sources are being used. So these syntax we will try to understand. I'll help you to write some script with all this syntax. Once that is done, we will go and write some script to automate some infrastructure provisioning, right? Let's say when you are trying to provision an EC2, how are we going to write our Terraform scripts? First, we'll write the Terraform, and then we try to provision the infrastructure using that. So, and then we're going to talk about mostly on the backend Terraform backends, like what is the state file, how do we use the local state, how do we use the remote state, because remote state is an essential concept where when you're trying to manage your infrastructure using the logs and everything, you need to understand how the remote state is going to work. Then we are also going to see about like how the Terraform gonna work with the different meta values, right? Like how the depends on is gonna work, the meta arguments. We're gonna see about the advanced concept in that. So this is the flow, and then at last I'm gonna give you a larger infrastructure to automate, and you will write the scripts to automate and execute it. That's how it's gonna be on the Terraform
Okay,
alone. I'm talking about. Yeah.
all right, sounds good. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Any questions? Any other questions, guys, so far? Guys, feel free to unmute and talk. Do not be like, just even if you don't know, don't hesitate that you don't know anything. It's like everybody here is to learn, right? Everyone is on the same uh, knowledge. That's why we are here. It doesn't mean that only people has to. If you have any questions that if you don't understand something, let me know. I can help you to understand even better, right? So please let me know if any questions or comments that you want to give. So the basic thing is like when you ask questions, people will others also gets the same knowledge. Yeah. Any question, doubts, or I'll just move ahead. Okay, I'm moving ahead. So what are we going to see in this Terraform? We have just discussed it. Now let's say how we are going to manage the infrastructure when we are trying to provision a new infrastructure. When already there is an infrastructure, how are we going to manage? Say for example, there is a EC2 instance. There is a server for a layman's language. There is a server which I already created in AWS, right? Now I want to manage that using Terraform. I have not created using Terraform, but now I want to bring all this under Terraform. Can I do that? Yes, you can do that. So there is an option in Terraform to import the existing resource which you created manually. So we are going to see about how the Terraform import works and how are we going to manage using the Terraform states, right? So that is what we are going to discuss. So end to end on the Terraform part on how do we provision infrastructure, how do we manage, how do we import, and how do we destroy? Like when you created the infrastructure, if you want to destroy a huge infrastructure, you can use the Terraform to destroy as well. Okay, all right. So this is all about Terraform that we are going to discuss, and then we are going to move to cloud automation using Python. That's very important because we are going to see two tools, right? Like one is Terraform, the other one is on the Python. Now, in Python, what are we going to learn? So, because why we designed such a different curriculum with Python and Terraform? Because in the market, you definitely need to understand the declarative language also with the programming language, which is on the Python. I mean, the basically which you definitely need to know how the this kind of scripting works, right? The Python helps you to understand provisioning the infrastructure using cloud SDKs. So when you say Azure, when you say AWS, when you say any kind of cloud, all the cloud supports their SDKs. We have Java SDKs, we have Python SDK, Go SDK, Node.js SDKs, a lot of SDKs. So one of the SDKs that you definitely need to know, and which is very easy as well, I would say, because Python is not a difficult language at all. It's a very simple language. Just need the hands-on. A lot of hands-on you need it because we have a lot of topics under that. So you will learn about the Python, how the Python syntax works, what is data types. So what is data types? Basically, as in like how we will use different sort of data, how to use the number, how to populate the number, how to populate the strings, how do we use the variables with the different numbers, strings, booleans, different operators, right? And we also talk about the little bit of the Python data structure. We have something called as list, sets, tuples. These are all the essential topics in Python which you definitely need to know. If it sounds like a completely new jargon to you, don't worry about it. We are going to anyway do the hands-on here. But one request to all of you is follow the hands-on. It's not just read about the class what we are going through, just finish it off. No, it is not going to be like that. You definitely need to do some sort of hands-on with you. I will give you a lot of hands-on when it comes to Python because you need to know the logical explanation of different syntax inside that, right? So you definitely need to understand how Python works, right? How do we write the functions? How do we do the loops? Loops are, I mean, you guys must have came across all this during your engineering or either somewhere anyone, I mean, every one of you must have understood about the programming basics, right? If you don't understand how it works, but I just know the terms, don't worry about it. You're going to practice all these things in this, right? So how do we do the exceptionally? Once we're done with the core Python, which is like how do we write the basic programs, then we will move to cloud automation using Python. So what is cloud automation? So here we are going to focus on AWS with Boto 3 is what we are going to focus. So what is Boto 3? Boto 3 is again a kind of a SDK which will helpful to connect with your cloud, right? So how the API references are being documented for this Boto 3, and let's say whatever I'm creating, right? The infrastructure, provisioning the EC2, provisioning the storage, network, anything on cloud. How can I use this Boto 3 in order to perform all my operations? That's the thing we're going to discuss here. So in this, you can say why we need to automate. The main cloud automation intention is to automate your entire cloud infrastructure network using Python programming language, right? So that's how you will come to know the scripting language, where how the market are effectively leveraging the scripting, right? You can also ask why Python specifically. People prefer Python because it's like lot of automation, a little bit advanced automation. When you want to write, everything cannot be achieved using the infrastructure as a code, programming. Those are all the programming which will help for your automation, but not with the advanced manipulation you cannot do with all this infrastructure as a code. Now, a lot of manipulation. I need to dynamically get the IP address. A lot of functions which I dynamically need to do. Then in that case, this programming language, the scripting language will help you to achieve that. So Python is one of the very powerful tool which will help you to do that. Okay, if you're not very confident with Python, don't worry, we will see some basics also before getting into the AWS Boto 3 Python. So I'll take some time, maybe like a week time, to dedicate our time to Python, understand the Python syntax, various programs, hands-ons inside Python. We'll talk about it, and then we will move forward with the AWS Boto 3 way of implementation. So what is Boto 3? As I told you, it will help. It is a SDK for your cloud. I mean AWS cloud specifically. Boto 3 is specifically for AWS cloud, right? So what are the different libraries are there? Different functions are there. How the authentication way we use it for AWS using the Boto 3, and how the workflow happens here. All the understanding we will talk in this Boto 3 topic.
May, may
Yes.
I ask something?
Yes, I'm gonna take a pass right now, and I'm gonna leave it to you for the questions. Yes, go ahead, Satishwar.
Okay, when it comes to Boto 3, there are actually two methods, client and resource. So which one will be covering up?
Resource is a basic part we will cover, or we'll go with the client. I'll give you the difference between both. I'll also use the client method first, and then go with some examples with the resource method.
Okay,
Okay,
because I
so
would,
we use
you
mostly
know,
on the client method.
okay,
Mostly on the
okay, okay.
client method. Mostly on the client method we use it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Any question? See, guys, I think Satishwar asked about client and the resource method. He might know that earlier. I did not know that. How can I ask question? Don't worry about. Don't hesitate anything, guys. Like whatever you know, because here everyone is here to learn from the basic, right? So you can ask the questions whichever that you feel like. Maybe a right question or a dumb question. Don't worry about talking, because everyone knows, right? In IT, we should definitely talk, either right or wrong. We should definitely talk. Post your question. If you don't get your answers, post it again and again. That's a simple thing we follow here, right? So if you don't get the right answer but you're expecting, post it again and again, right? So that's one way. Yeah. Any questions, guys? So this is all about the topic and what we are going to see in this particular course. So any questions specific to any kind of so here we definitely need to understand the Python, core Python module, which help you to write your Boto 3 code. So here we're going to learn about that, and we will start from the basics of how do we set up our AWS account, the basic resource creations as well. So I hope I have clarified what is the uh, expectation in this course that you can expect, and what we are going to discuss. Everything I have made a point, I think. But you guys ask your questions. All right, guys, very importantly, when you keep asking more questions, you will get a lot of content from me, because no, not just this here, anywhere if you go, right? If you keep asking more questions, you will get some more contents which will benefit for others as well. But just a suggestion, you can be interactive, because when it comes to only one way, you just get the content whatever I try to deliver. But when you talk, when you interact, you get a lot of content uh, than what is expected, right? So we can make the session as fun. We can make the session interactive. Need not to be just as a formal course. Just I'm gonna just deliver all the topics. Will be a little boring. We'll make the session fun. Do interact. Please come up with your points. Uh, that will help us, help everybody to make the course very interactive and effective, right? I'm little interested to collaborate all of with all of you, and we can make this session very fun. Yep. Any questions, doubt?
So Satish, is there any way you
Yes.
can also touch base with the Azure cloud, or is only particularly with Terraform you're going to show us with the AWS?
So here this is focus is on the AWS, but Terraform is common for all the cloud. So I will help you out to set up for Azure as well. But again, the way that all the concept works here is what you need to, the generic way is what you need to understand, right? So I'll help
Okay.
you out to set up for Azure as well. But whatever we are implementing here, the same way you're going to do there, but a slight different on in terms of the service name, the implementation way, the parameter way is going to be different, but the principle is common here. You understand the commonality between the clouds, right? The
I
same way,
agree.
but the only
Yes.
thing is like the implementation part is what very important. So here focusing on AWS is why, because the Boto 3 the curriculum is designed in such a way that you get mastered with both the thing when it comes to AWS. So you also when you want to get start of Azure, I can help you setting up that making the Terraform code for your Azure as well. But in this course, it's focusing on the AWS. But I can make some help on the Azure setup as well when you want some dedicated help on that.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any other questions? So last 15 minutes, I kept it for the questions, guys, because first day when the people joins, they come up with a lot of expectation. They wanted to get clarified a lot of questions before they kickstart. Because before we jump into, we think a lot, right? Like we whether it works fine, whether that works fine, all these things, and then once we jump, we should just need to swim. That's it. So you guys ask all the questions whatever you have it. I see two people joined. I think I've not heard their introduction. Shrikant and Prakash, right? Okay, let me start with Shrikant. Hey Shrikant, I saw you joined in between. Can I have your introduction please, if you are on the call? Oh, okay, I think he left. Prakash, you want to give your
Yeah, hello,
introduction?
sir. This is Prakash.
Hey
So
Prakash.
Yeah, yeah, I'm working as a business analyst for one of the organization. So
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. So I joined late because I was facing some electric internet issue because of like heavy rain here, and so
Okay.
that's why I got late. So to, just to brief. So if you can just brief me about 2 3 lines so that I can just have a basic view. Anyways, otherwise I will join at the later sessions and get the knowledge. So that will
No
be fine.
problem. You will also get the recording of this session, Prakash. If you missed
Oh,
major part, if you missed, do not worry about it. You will get the recording of this demo session. You can go through. You can still post questions like when you come back. No worries about it at all.
okay, thank you.
Right?
Sounds good, sir. Yeah.
No, no problem. No problem. So here, primarily focusing on the cloud automation, focusing on AWS cloud. We will talk about how do we set up the AWS cloud and manual operations that we do every day in our AWS cloud. Also, how are we going to automate using the Terraform, which uses HCL, HashiCorp's configuration language. We will understand how the configuration language works, the various syntax and the principles of this configuration language, and then we are going to move towards the Python part. We'll learn about the core Python. Then we are going to move towards Boto 3. So Boto 3 is one of the SDK for cloud, which will help you to provision the infrastructure. Again, a bit of advanced programming you should be able to do with your Boto 3. That's the primary focus in this particular course. So I was briefing about what is there inside a Terraform history and something like that, and then I covered touched a basic of what is the Python concepts and what 3 we are going to discuss in this particular course. So you can always have a walkthrough and come back and ask me the questions if you have it in your mind, right? Yep. um Yes, guys. Any questions, any doubt, any feedbacks? You please feel free to post it. Uh, Maybe the people will be in touch with all of you. Like you can ask your questions. Feel free to post your doubts. Any questions or doubts, folks?
Sir, I have a question. So
Yes,
when we talk
Prakash.
about automation, so which type of automation we'll be doing?
So yeah, so automation infrastructure as a code. So while provisioning the infrastructure, we were doing it manual operations in the earlier situation. Now we are completely going to automate that infrastructure provisioning and like and we are going to manage. It's not just the provisioning. So there are two terms. We can provision. After provisioning, we can manage. Let's say we need to modify the infrastructure. All these operations going to be automated using Terraform. Second, cloud automation you can also do with Python. So Python, we use the Boto 3 module, which will help you to interact with AWS cloud, and you can manage it effectively. So you can ask me why two different. The two different tool are very widely used in the market, and which is going to be helpful for your automation path journey as well. So a little bit of advanced automation could be done using this Python, and also in the market we use the Terraform also. So that's the primary focus for us.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any questions, guys? Okay. If no questions, feel free to post even when you come back, when you get some doubts. I think some text you need to drop your details. Yes. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
So that's it for today.
Yeah. So we just have the demo for today, and then we come back and start the course. That's the
So
plan.
when are we going to start the course?
I think I mean, admins will be in touch mostly on Monday or Tuesday,
Hmm.
something like that. It depends on you guys how you responded. We just get started on that, right? We
Yeah,
we
one
we
more
plan to
question.
start very immediately. Yeah,
Okay, so what would be the preferred timing? Same timing like today, or like it will be start a bit earlier some other time?
bit early it might start. That's a plan. We will start bit early. So today's time is like we kept it 1 hour late, I think. So the timing we will start what 1 hour early or something like that. That's a plan.
Okay,
You
okay, yeah,
based out
that sounds
of?
good. Hong Kong.
Okay.
So
So
I'm
yeah.
all like 2.5 hour ahead of India. So,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it will work. It will work
Will
for
work.
me even if we
Yeah.
start early. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a good one. Bye.